a new roster. It is a new roster. There's no really two ways about it. It's very hard to predict a new roster to really get anything done. Even if you look at some of the players and the caliber of some of those players on that roster, you look on the other side and you think, okay, Darkside have equally good, if not better players across the board. Yep. And then also, they have that experience as a team. You know, they haven't really changed their core roster up, where Masterminds don't really have a core roster at this point. So I'm very impressed actually to see Masterminds having this good of a performance. But for Darksided, there is still an opportunity to win this series, which I think they should be doing. Termo starts off well, of course, on the Taki there. Well, when it was control point time, Jordan, Masterminds had the better of them. Now we're over to Assault. Kind of similar, kind of not. But the reality was it was Darksided that actually got the full hold on the first point of Eichenwald. Let's see whether they can do the same here. Well, that would be impressive. First point, yeah, it would. They did it once, maybe they can do it twice, and this is a pretty good start. Look at all of those frags across the board. Going to start saving up some of this ultimate charge for Darksided here on defense. Yuki really in a key position as Junkrat to get some frags, get some damage down, and maybe a pretty sick Riptire. Yeah, well, he's done a bit of damage so far. 66% of his ultimate charge built up, which is more than anyone else at this point, and he's going to probably get it up at the end of this fight if it doesn't go well for Masterminds, which so far it's not really. USMC is down. Suoko just cops a massive grenade in the face. That's a little bit unfortunate, and already, as you said, that Riptire ready to go. Molotov and Punk, 2/3 of the way there as well. We'll see whether Junkrat can sneak around and throw down a trap or two in that side corner. Not this time. No, not this time. Taki actually going to get the better of him. We're going to see a res coming from Cantus. Maybe, maybe not, but in the end, Taki going to go down to Yuki's trap, which was why he was there in the first place. And Yuki going to get res there by Cantus. So all's well that ends well for Darksided. A trade of frags, but that's favourable still for Darksided here. They just need to wait for Cantus's res to come off, which pretty much will be by the time this fight starts to play out. Yuki with the Riptire can delay things quite significantly as well for Masterminds if need be, and that looks like exactly what he wants to do. Yeah, Riptire time over the top, round the left. Anyway. Look at that, You're all hanging back. He's like, well, what am I going to do now? I'm just going to chill. Wants to find a very late pick. That would be the key here. Not going to happen. That was a very cheeky little spot for it to hide in. But regardless, it was kind of irrelevant. As soon as he pops the Riptire, Termo picks up 2 frags, 2 picks for himself, and Termo's thinking, well, come on, buddy, I've just used my ult. Give me a chance. Yeah. Well, Taki's going to have this Dragon Strike, and he can send it right through the middle of the pack right now. Just going to aim this one nice and close. They all seem to be dropping back, but already KS1 has gone down. The red's going to be used, and now Taki throwing out the Sonic Arrow, just trying to find where everyone is, trying to find the perfect positioning to use this ultimate. Here we go, through the middle, Dragon Strike. Are we going to find any kills? No. At least it's going to separate the group and give Masterminds a way in, but with Molotov, Punk, and Cantus ready to go with ultimates, and Mooney almost ready as well with the bongos, Jordan. It's a tough ask. Yeah, that ultimate out from Taki was less about getting the kills and more about opening up a pathway for Masterminds actually to get some ground onto this first point, which right now is actually proving to be very difficult for them. USMC now at least has a nice angle to work with. Yuki under a bit of pressure here, but he does have the Riptire available, so let's see what he can do with this one. Another opportunity for him, searching for some opponents, and he just can't find anyone. Well, he's just going round and round the rosy, Jordan, but KS1 going to go down. That's the tank out of it, and Swilko nowhere to be seen for now, so going to have to slow it down, wait this one back. 35 seconds on the clock. Look, Masterminds here finally will have that ultimate advantage, but it looks to me, oh, great pick onto Mooney as well. See the resurrection come back, and now it's going to see whether they can get another pick, get another advantage onto the point. I think Molotov was the only ultimate the Darksided had available right now. That's going to be the Transcendence onto the point. Everyone clears from the self-destruct. KS1 popping the Primal Rage. Darksided doing everything they can to hold Masterminds off, but Masterminds really need to find this point. This is their last chance. Otherwise, Anubis could be over very, very quickly. Taki's getting very, very close to that Dragon Strike. He's going to throw it out straight away as well, and that could be the difference. That could be enough to allow Masterminds to cap through here. But even still, Punk comes in with a self-destruct as well, and Darksided, they look like they might just hang on to this one. Overtime is ticking now. Transcendence out there from August 9th as well. There's just everything going off right now. But Yuki, again, this one could be the difference in 2 kills out of the Riptire. That'll be just enough, surely, for Darksided, as we do see more and more Masterminds players trickling onto the point. But there's only so long that you can trickle before that timer runs out, and inevitably it will. Darksided, what a defense here on Temple of Anubis. First point, not even capped at all.
Well, I said it, Jordan. I said it. On Eichenwald, they held point 1. Here on the Temple of Anubis, they do precisely the same thing.
That is really bad news for Masterminds. That is going to be tough to defend, I will say. And off the back of a couple of nice individual plays there from Darksided, you know, just Termo going crazy with the Widowmaker. Yuki,
yep.
He got a good Riptire off in the end there that I think swung the balance of that final fight. Everyone was just kind of hoping to get up onto their ultimate and throw it out in that last fight, but it was Yuki that got his when it really mattered, and he got great value out of it as well, and that swung the balance, and Masterminds don't manage to push through, even though they had an opportunity there.
Well, that's it. It took them a while to even get to that point. They lost a couple very early on. A couple of picks came through. Yuki, of course, there getting a couple of frags as well, holding everyone back, slowing everything down, Jordan. And then finally, it took the Dragon Strike to clear everyone out. And then it was a bit of a brawl from there on out, but it wasn't enough. It didn't matter. Masterminds weren't able to get onto the point. Well, really not much at all required now from Darksided to bring this one through and put them in that 2-1 lead. At least today, we're not going to get to the end of map 3 and say, congratulations to a team, you've already won this match.
Yeah. It's difficult, though, for Masterminds to come back from it when they assumably be down 2-1 after this map. It's very, very tough. I mean, that was...
Well, after... When you consider where they were at, which was they kept Darksided to practically halfway through Phase 2 of Eichenwald.
Yeah.
When you go, that's a pretty good result. Yeah. After winning Oasis... in a pretty prime position, to be fair, but maybe Darksided have woken up, Jordan.
Yeah, don't unleash the beast.
Exactly. Went and got a cafe coffee or something of the description, because to be perfectly honest, they're an entirely different team right now to what we saw about 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, Yuki's back on the Genji again. We didn't see that in the last map, only on Oasis, but when he was playing it on Oasis, he really was quite a menace. Masterminds will need to find a way to deal with that one. Taki will be taking away the Junkrat. It's a very similar defensive setup, or almost the exact same, actually, I think,
yeah,
for
but
Masterminds.
holding further back than where Masterminds held. So
Which gives Darksided quite a little bit more room to work with. A couple more flanking routes are open.
Look at this, already right onto the top here, Jordan. It's Taki trying to hold back here, actually going to find Cantus, so that's a good start seeing that support go. KS1 down to Termo, but surely Taki with free reign from the back, and Darksided are going to have to reset. But I'm not as sold on that high ground in this particular setup. It just doesn't seem to work.
Well, it certainly gives Darksided a lot more room for free. Obviously, Masterminds had to fight for really every single inch, every single opening that they could get here on the first point, where Darksided are kind of getting right up to the point before they actually have to start fighting. And so you could say that's a bit of an advantage. Maybe Masterminds are just a little bit more comfortable holding in this manner, which is, again, fair enough. But it does give Darksided a bit more room to work with.
Yeah, talking about advantage, USMC going to pop that infra site, which means Darksided are probably going to need to just chill back for the moment, keep everyone alive, see what they can do. Taki, Riptire, as soon as it's ready, it goes out. What are we going to find? No one, unfortunately, and actually Taki going to go down to Molotov. So the support doing work once again. Looks to me the advantage on the side of Darksided for now as Molotov finds a second USMC
Yuki
down. They only need 1/3 of a tick, Jordan. And as you said, Yuki with the Dragon Blade. See ya later, everybody. Finally, Molotov goes down. But you would like to think that Darksided will find this 1/3 in quick succession.
Yep.
And this will be 2-1 with Anubis going over to Darksided.
Absolutely. What a fantastic defense from Darksided. You look at the attack, you're like, okay, it was pretty much what it needed to be from Darksided. It was nothing special, nothing crazy, but that was really one on the defense by Darksided, and what an incredible performance from them on defense so far today.
Well, that's how you win games, Jordan. You don't let it go to a 30-minute Temple of Anubis where everyone goes round and round in circles time and time again. Punk with a nice play of the game, using all of his abilities there on the Diva.
Punk's been having a good performance so far. I think he got the play of the game in Eichenwald as well with the 2K off the self-destruct.
Yeah, well, man, this is what they say. You know what they say, though?
I don't know.
Diva, the coolest hero in the entirety of the whole world.
I don't think anyone's ever said that.
Okay, I say that. Maybe it doesn't count when I say it. But look, there was some good plays from this. We saw Yuki actually throwing out them frags as well. Picked up, I think was it Swilko straight away, slowed things down. A number of pretty good bits and pieces, I suppose, coming out from Darksided on defense. Even if Yuki didn't get the best of all the Riptides, but that was a crucial one.
That was the best Riptide of Temple of Anubis on both sides, and it was the most impactful, that's for sure. Just coming up right at the perfect time for him as soon as the Transcendence had ended for August 9th. It left the opening there for him, didn't it? And he got pretty good value out of it. 2 kills, you know, it's nothing amazing again, but in that situation, in that scenario where there's only a couple of players left alive for Masterminds, they could not afford to lose 2 players to the Riptide. Maybe one they could have gotten away with and still had a chance, but if you lose 2, it's like basically that fight's over, and well, Darksided hold the point. Yeah,
they certainly do, and as you can see there on the scoreboard, now puts them in a 2-1 lead up against Masterminds. It's a best of 4. We play 4 maps, Jordan, and normally, you know, we might see a 4-0 or a 3-1. It doesn't matter. You play them all out, but this time it's gone down to the wire. This time it's going to go down to map 4 to see whether we go to Ilios for a tiebreaker or whether we have Darksided with the win. It's going to be Watch Point Gibraltar. We haven't seen this so far in Contenders Australia, so another new one for us.
Yep.
Not new in general, but different to season number 1.
Yeah, exciting to see something a little bit different. Well, again, after those first, or after Eichenwald and after Temple of Anubis, you have to look at the defensive side as being the important side for both of these teams.
Yeah.
Because that's where they've really had a lot of their success. So
we played 3 matches now, and we've had 3 different escort maps.
Yeah, it's true.
It's good. Good diversity. It's what I like to see. Diversity in map pools. What do you reckon, Jordan? This is obviously payload all the way. So
well, I said I thought Darkseid would win this series. I'm going to stick to my guns.
Yeah, so did I, to be fair.
I think they've got the 3-1 here.
They've been really a different team in the latter half of this matchup. So
basically past sort of the first half of Eichenwald, it really has been an all Darksided, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Oasis was kind of backwards and forwards. First half of Eichenwald, definitely very good from Masterminds, but now Masterminds are under a bit of pressure, and Darksided seem to have been hitting their form, particularly Turmo and Yuki.
Indeed, and you can see here, Jordan, we're going to have the Brigitte coming out. We'll see how that plays out here for Masterminds. But not really anyone to deal with, I suppose, right? There's no Tracer. There's no Genji. We'll see whether this plays out for Masterminds in the way that they would like. But nice, safe and sound on the payload for now. Progressing through quite nicely, as one would expect. Darksided choosing to try and hold this one at the first point.
Well, that's pretty much standard. You don't really do too much of an aggressive hold until it kind of gets to this point, and this is where you start to contest for Darksided. So for Masterminds, the job's been pretty easy so far, but this is where the real hurt does start to come into effect. Turmo's already charged up to 75% of that ultimate. Molotov also getting the better of USMC. That's not at all what you want to be seeing. If a support is killing one of the DPS, particularly a Widow, it's not a fun time for Masterminds.
No, you've got to be careful. Shield badge coming through. Taki's still alive up here, trying to do a bit of work, but it's KS1 who's going to go down here to Yuki. And those Storm Arrows got to be careful. They're pretty effective these days, to be perfectly honest, the old Hanzo.
Big tank slayer.
Yeah, look at this now. Both of Darksided's snipers ready to go with ultimates. And you can see between Punk, Mooney, and Cantor as well, almost all ready to pop. There's Mastermind starting to slow down. They need to find, I guess, this high ground. They need to secure it before they can push through on that payload.
Yeah, they definitely need to try and get control of one of the avenues in, but this is not going to be too fun walking right into.
Oh my gosh!
As I say,
Yuki.
walking right into the Dragon Strike, and there wasn't even any real setup there for Yuki. He's just thrown it out, and everyone from Masterminds has walked right into it.
Look, I feel like half the big replays from the first week of Contenders here in Australia get me saying, oh my gosh, oh my goodness, to Dragon Strikes picking up 4 or 5 at a time.
Yeah, I mean, but like when there's a Graviton Surge, then sure, okay, but that is like, what on earth is that?
Who even needs a Zarya, mate? Who even needs Zarya? Look, 1:45 on the clock here. Masterminds finally with that ultimate advantage. KS1 going to be looking to get the Primal Rage up pretty soon as well. Behind the rally, it's time to move. Follow Brigitte into the battle, Jordan. And well, at least the payload's dropped all the way back to them and they can pick it up and start on running.
I don't know if that's what they really want.
Yes, well, exactly.
But quite a lot of armor there to chunk through for Dark-Sided. Masterminds have a bit of extra HP as a result. Maybe this is going to be what they need, but in saying that, there are still some ultis available for Dark-Sided to utilize on this defense. And they still have some good positioning. Yuki up on the high ground here, giving a problem over to USMC.
Yeah, wow.
Followed up by Mooney. Great work from the two of them. And that, just look at this. Yuki's got so much free reign now. Absolutely no one dealing with him. And when no one's dealing with the Hanzo, think about how much damage he's putting out.
Well, that's it. Free reign now for Yuki, who, to be fair, no matter what hero he is on, seems to cause trouble. Dragon Strike ready to go is now the time. Do we need it?
No.
Look, if he fires it now, he gets a lot of kills, but the reality is, don't throw it away. Save it in your pocket. 45 seconds on the clock. Masterminds have one more push here, Jordan, and it's a push that's going to be slow because Noz going to be reset. We'll get there. We'll get there. One last chance.
Well, that's what Masterminds is saying.
Well, that's it. Look, again, that ult advantage this time on the side of Masterminds. This is their chance. Taki going to get close there as well for the rally. Infrasight used, trying to give them a bit of an idea of where everyone is. If USMC can find a kill. Look, to be fair, they're kind of split up here, Jordan. Not everyone was around the corner ready to go. The battle going down on the high ground once more. 10 seconds on the clock. Need to get onto the payload. I'm sure they will. There's that Dragon Strike this time. Not as successful. Primal Rage going to come out as well from KS1. Goes down low, stays alive. Rally from Taki as well. This is the shot that Masterminds need. Maybe Noz as well with that self-destruct over the top. But you can see, there you go. Self-destruct in the middle, pushes everyone off the payload. Probably not enough, however. Another Dragon Strike, Jordan. That's been like 35, 40 seconds. We'll see what Yuki can do this time.
Well, this might be enough to actually hold that point. I thought that Masterminds were going to push it through, but Yuki, he's done the correct play there and drops the Dragon Strike right on the payload, forcing them off, allowing the rest of his teammates to come in and sort of contest just a little bit longer. It still looks like Masterminds are going to win this fight.
It does.
And come away with at least the first point, which is, well, not too little too late because they still do get through, but it took them a very, very long time to cap that first point out, and Dark-Sided, they're going to have to be happy with that defense. Now, they can mount a really solid defense here in the second phase of the map, and as long as they can do that with only 2 minutes and 20 seconds left for Masterminds, they don't have enough time to really lose that many team fights. They need to win the first or the second fight here, Masterminds. Otherwise, they've essentially, again, failed on the attack.
Well, that's it. It was a particularly timely Transcendence coming out from August 9th on the payload to get them across the line. And as well, the benefit here, I suppose, was because Dark-Sided kind of trickled onto the payload there on the first point. Masterminds perhaps able to get a foothold here in phase 2 of the payload. And we'll see what they can do, see how far they can get through. Already halfway through phase 2. 3 on the payload going nice and fast right now. And as that Infrasight comes through, USMC maybe going to be able to find itself a pick, Jordan. And that's precisely what they want. Another Dragon Strike in the background you can hear, finding no kills this time around. Turbo onto USMC, that's what Dark-Sided would love to see. Self-destruct finds no one. Molotov going to get brought back to life, but a lot of work being done here by by Masterminds. They're progressing quite well, but maybe now it's going to slow.
Yeah, with a minute left on the clock, there's really only time for, well, maybe 2 pushes, depending on how that first one does go, how quickly they reset here. But realistically speaking, with how far forward Dark-Sided are holding, how much time they're just trying to waste of Masterminds, there's a good chance that Masterminds actually only able to get 1 more push out here. And for me, they haven't really done enough just yet on the attack. They still need to get through that second point, and Dark-Sided is still looking pretty good. A lot of ultimates coming up for them now as well, where Masterminds, they really only have 2 to contest with. Maybe Swilko comes up on the Valkyrie as well. But Yuki's got his, Molotov very close by, Punk very close by, and Turbo's already thrown out the Infrasight, so Dark-Sided do have a little bit of advantage in that sense.
Dragon Strike comes through right down the center, followed up by Storm Arrows. Not going to find anyone this time around, but all the Masterminds forced to scatter right there, at least this time for Dark-Sided. They had an opportunity to get their defense ready to go. You can see, oh, look at that. Very, very quickly, Taki goes down. There's the Primal Rage going to come out of KS1 just in the nick of time. Molotov coming through with the Transcendence onto the payload. And Taki going to come back right now as well. That's precisely what they need. Going to follow it up with a flail onto Yuki, but picked up in the meantime. Punk finds one. Dark-Sided perhaps in the advantageous position, but it's Noz on the payload with the self-destruct as well. Should allow Masterminds to push on through. Maybe find this point. It's very, very close. Dark-Sided continuing to jump onto this payload, trying their best to stop this before point 2.
Punk jumping on there and sacrificing his mech just to save the point, to keep it from pushing any further forward. Great work from him, and still the fight progresses on. Masterminds, they have so much healing, so much to kind of burn through on the side of Darksided that it does seem like they are just going to win this war of attrition. Finally, the second point will be camped up by Masterminds. Darksided must be thinking, what more do we need to do? Well, you have to burn through not only a Mercy and a Zenyatta's heals, but also Taki on the Brigitte, getting some heals out there as well. And that does make it quite difficult when those fights start to last for a long time. If you're not getting the picks onto the healers, with this kind of a setup that Masterminds have, they are just going to outlast you.
They will, and I think Taki's actually had a pretty good game here on Watch Point Gibraltar, to be perfectly honest. There we go once again. Yuki throwing out the Dragon Strike, but Taki the one getting the better of Mooney there with the whip shot. Whip it good, Jordan.
Is that what you like to do?
Mate, settle down.
Well, the fight, again, still progresses onwards. It takes a long time for these fights in this new meta to actually play out. And in all that meanwhile, Masterminds are continuing to push the payload on forward. Self-destruct out there, doesn't get too much done from Punk. He's been good with them so far, but that was more of a dispersion tactic really than anything else. Onwards goes the payload.
Certainly does. Taki goes down. Mooney finding that fragrance. The August 9th here ready to go as well. I was about to say, ready to pop that trance, but unfortunately, Yuki with like the 80th Dragon Strike of this map. Going to bring him down before he gets a chance to use it. And right now, Darksided really looking to get the better of Masterminds here in the third phase. They're on the payload. They're ready to go. The defense is here. It's going to come down probably August 9th with this Transcendence, Jordan. Perhaps maybe a fantastic self-destruct coming out from Noz.
Well, it was really going to be tough for Masterminds to get on that point and win this fight, but they've started off well. USMC does get rid of Turmo. No res yet from Canters for Turmo. That means there's a player advantage right now for Mastermind. Self-destruct on the point. Again, not much done from it, but Yuki gets a pick. Now Punk with the D-Mag actually off the self-destruct. It's still very hard to tell who's actually going to come away with this fight, because Masterminds, you really can't count them out of any of these fights. Even if they are losing players, it looks like Darksided has the advantage. There's just so much healing and so much sustain that Masterminds can stay in those fights for so long. Yuki needs to find that pick, but he can't quite. And that's USMC getting res back up and Yuki punished.
Look, if anything's on Darksided favor here, it's the fact that the spawn point is closer to them than to Masterminds, but Masterminds have done very well to get the payload this far through, and potentially here to close this one out and give them a great start here on Watch Point Gibraltar. Punk about to go down. It doesn't matter, no one on the payload.
Yeah, a little unfortunate that it ends that way for Masterminds, but all in all, they do get quite a bit further than they could have. Really looked for a moment like Darksided was going to hold them on that first point, and at that point you would think, okay, well, Darksided's pretty much wrapped this one up with a 3-1. Now it's still up in the air and we have no real idea, but again, not a terrible defense really from Darksided. If you can stop it there, that's achievable for Darksided, but it is also certainly defendable here for Masterminds. So hard to say who's coming away with the victory on this one, and we might still yet be pushed through to a tiebreaker map.
Look, Ilios is definitely on the cards here, Jordan. I'm not against traveling once again to a new part of the world. However, if you're Darksided, do you go, oh, it really felt like we were going to get the full hold on the first phase?
Yeah, it did. But you still have to recognize that is, you haven't allowed your opponent to cap all 3 points, and a lot of the time we do see these payload maps being all fully capped out, so I don't think Darksided is particularly disappointed with that defensive side. Yuki was certainly having a bit of fun with the Dragon Strikes.
He certainly was, man. So many.
It's so much different because obviously there's no Graviton Surge there for him. He doesn't have to hang on. He doesn't have to wait for the Zaya to charge up and kind of combo. So as soon as he gets the Dragon Strike, he's like, well, I might as well throw it out.
Might as well give it a burl.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Worked for him once really well.
Look, to be fair, a couple of dragons flying through the air is probably, you'd think, a relatively dangerous area to be within the vicinity of. It definitely does damage. But as we see time and time again, it can be hard to hit. That's precisely...
Well, he's very slow.
Yeah, well, look, they're dragons, man. I know, like, we think that dragons move quickly, but they're so big. It's like a jumbo jet, you know. It's not a fighter plane.
A380.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Darksided, let's see what you've got on your attack. It hasn't really been tested too much so far, with the exception of Eichenwald, which actually didn't work out too well. So Masterminds, and we've seen them on the defense, so far they looked okay, but this is the real test for them. Final map, potentially, if Darksided close it out.
Well, they're going to get onto the payload nice and quickly as to be expected. Yuki going to come around the side, wants to cause a bit of havoc there on the high ground, which to be fair he did with that nice little dink just before. But everyone ready to go, and now they can see them with the Sonic Arrow. Great plays. What we want to see coming out from Darkside. Masterminds want to use up as much time as they can here. To be fair, they did pretty well on attack. Once they got into the swing of things, maybe they can do the same on defense and even this one up. Yuki coming through with the Storm Arrows. Not going to find a pick, and everyone still alive. Slowly, but surely.
That Sonic Arrow probably wasn't intended to go into the wall right next to him, but it doesn't seem to be affecting him all that much, as he still is under very, very little pressure right now. Masterminds, they're more content to fight up against these tanks that are sort of locked in with some of the Masterminds players. That's worked out okay for Masterminds, but still Yuki is putting out the hurt trades backwards and forwards right now. Who does it favour? Ben, I have no idea.
Look, it's a tough one, Jordan. It's all over the place. Tucky going to go down to Punk. The self-destruct ready to go as well here on the D-Bar, but is it the time to use it? That's the real question. Well, that's going to help with KS1 going down, and Swilko. I don't even know if we need it right now, but in a worst-case scenario, they should pick up phase number 1 here. Self-destruct actually going to come out from Noz, who gets picked up by Punk, and August 9th going to get picked up as well.
Well, it was a nice kill from August 9th onto Yuki. I'll give him credit for that, but it just put him in the middle of the entire enemy team. And as a result, he goes down. Taki desperately trying to rally his troops around that payload, keeping himself alive. He's got some backup now from KS1, and the reinforcements do start to come in. The cavalry charges here to back up Taki. He was posting a stoic defense, and Darkside this time doesn't look like they're going to get the point.
Look, to be fair, Taki doing quite well, as you said, using the rally to come on through, and bought enough time for the rest of the Masterminds team to get here onto the payload. It will start slowly heading back down the track, Jordan. But a couple of ultimates now on the side of Darksided ready to go. We'll see whether that will give them advantage in the very next fight. But with only 1:30 on the clock, they're going to need to get a bit of a wriggle on here on attack. Masterminds doing okay.
There's a pick already, though, for Darksided in this fight. Yuki dispatching of Taki. SMC under pressure there as well. So this is looking much better, much better rather for Masterminds. I should say Darksided.
Yes,
it's very confusing when two of the Masterminds players now play on Darksided. But anyway, they cap that first point up. They get Taki as well, a little bit of a stagger, which is not too disappointing for them. And with 3 minutes and a half to cap this one, I think it was, what, 2.5 when Masterminds just came up to this point.
Yeah, yep.
So a little bit of extra time to play with for Darksided, but still, it's a fairly threatening kind of part of the map to push through with only 3 minutes left.
Well, we're going to use a Dragon Strike once again. Yuki throws that through. Doesn't look like they're going to find anyone. As I say that, actually gets the D-Mech and kill onto Noz.
Also forcing Transcendence.
Wilco looking low, but I think the Trans maybe keeps him alive. No, it's Punk who gets on top, and August 9th goes down as well. Finally, USMC brings one back, but this could be a very, very quick phase 2 coming out here for Darksided. Everyone bar Molotov still alive here now for the attacking side. Well, great work.
I have to say, I'm very impressed with how much value Yuki is getting out of these Dragon Strikes, despite not having anything to combo with. You know, there's no Earth Shatter, there's no Graviton Surge, there's nothing to set it up for him.
Yeah.
And he still manages to find a kill or two with the majority of them, not just that, but also forcing ultimates and forcing players out of position. He's really putting a lot of pressure on Masterminds just with one single ultimate that he's throwing out so very often.
It's always a little bit tough when you get caught out from that second spawn point heading to the third spawn point on defense here, and we saw that happen to Masterminds just then. It will slow them down once again. Well, if they can find a tank or two, great positioning from Darkside, it might find them a bit of extra room here. Self-destruct over the top. Talking about great ultimates, Jordan. Noz finds one, Taki finds a third, and almost a clean wipe coming out from Masterminds. Going to slow this one down. Precisely what they need to be doing. Need to just start forcing Darksided back, because as we remember, we don't have all of phase 3 to work with here. They only got just around the corner. Yep,
it was a good fight for Masterminds. They invested only 2 ultimates, but on the same token, Darksided hadn't really put anything into that one. They were kind of just pushing the payload for free. That gives them a little bit more time to build some more ultis up here. USMC with the Infrasight on. Just 2 more ults available for Masterminds. August 9th getting close to Transcendence. We're going to see Mooney just jump in there, kind of cause a bit of a distraction. This will allow the payload to push just a bit further forward now for Darksided. Fairly uncontested.
Yeah, look, they don't really get that much out of it. It certainly seemed to use up a bit of time once again. Yuki with an ulti go this time, not going to find any kills, but August Knight going to go down to Punk, which is good because it means there's no Transcendence here. Jordan coming out for the defensive team. A couple of kills going both ways, but they are very close now to the point. August Knight's going to come back. That res, crucial to keep that Transcendence hopes and dreams alive for the defensive team. But, mate, with Swilko, one of the last players on the point here, it's going to be all so close. A lot of time going down, but Masterminds looking like they're going to run out of luck here on defense.
Yeah, certainly seems that way as Darksided. It's everyone on Darksided picking up kills on that kill feed, and not a single player for Masterminds able to find one. Now it's just the trickle. August Knight's trying to stay on there, trying to keep himself alive with the Moira, and actually doing a fairly decent job of it. Now backed up by Swilko. Inevitably, in the end, though, Darksided is going to find these kills, and they're going to be able to get that cap point up.
Yeah, with the self-destruct.
Trying his best.
Yeah, what can you do?
What can you do? When there's a self-destruct right there.
And then a Dragon Strike coming through. Is this going to be Yuki, Jordan?
I feel like it is. Has to be, right?
Yeah. Yuki of the game.
That really was Yuki's match, wasn't it? Because he was putting in such a massive effort, and oh, goodness me, that's so beautiful. Everyone just walks right into it. Yuki's saying, yeah, that was planned. All me.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about it, fellas. But Darksided picking up the victory, 3-1 over Masterminds. They had a little bit of a speed bump there on Oasis, but past that, everything looked fairly comfortable for them. I would say Watch Point Gibraltar was a little bit closer.
It was.
But all in all, it did seem like Darksided was just a slight bit favoured there.
They did. We said we thought they would win, but to be fair, I want to say big kudos here to Masterminds, Jordan, because they brought it back a little bit closer than we thought. It's what I love to see, a team really taking it to one of the top teams in the region, I suppose. Well, the thing for me was that, yeah, Masterminds had a great season one, but it's so tough when you have to change so many players in your roster. So
it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, even though they don't get the victory this time around, it's a pretty good start.
I mean, technically, Masterminds are the highest seed in this group. Darksided were seed 2. But in saying that, Masterminds haven't really had the same roster at all. So you kind of look at the seedings, you're like, well, that's probably not entirely correct. Just based on the players and well, now the result of this match as well. Yep. We're going to have to wait and see how Masterminds is going to go throughout the rest of the group. They still look like a fairly decent contester there. Being able to get a map off Darksided is not going to be an easy feat, and I think that's pretty impressive actually for what this newer roster actually is. When we see them going up against the likes of Avant, the likes of Kanga, that's where we're going to get a really good idea of where Masterminds is going to sit. And I guess the same can be said for Darksided. If they struggle against Avant or Kanga, then this group is all really going to be thrown out of whack. But at this point, I'm thinking Darksided's looking good. As we see them progress through the season, we're going to see them get better and better. Yeah,
for me, I think what we saw there from Masterminds is probably as good as anyone's going to do against Darksided this season, at least in regular season play, Jordan. So it's going to be a tough ask for everyone else, but plenty of weeks for them to work on everything and see how well they can go. But for now, let's go and recap that match. We'll go through our maps and see who won what. Oasis, our control map, Jordan. Well, look, to be honest, we were like, this is going to be pretty one-sided for Darksided. And at least the guys from Masterminds were able to pick up that. Yeah, but that was a very, very close map in itself as well, wasn't it? Because we got down to the third round. Obviously, it was 2-1 in the favour of Masterminds. It went to 99 apiece on the third round of Oasis. So really, it could have ended up going either way, but there was some pretty nice picks just before the final fight happened. And would have been interesting to see what would have happened if Darksided were fighting 6 versus 6 there. But in the end, yeah, of course, congratulations, Masterminds, for getting that one map. I think, again, like I said, I think that's impressive. Yeah. But now the job really starts, I think, for Mastermind, because we expected that they would lose to Darksided here, which they have. And then now it's the fight for that second place in the group, which they're going to be kind of contesting with Kanga and Avant. Look, for me, I think Masterminds probably have that down locked, but we'll have to wait and see. Jordan, I have a very quick question for you. Who do you think is going to get our McDonalds Australia Player of the Game? Yuki. Yuki, it is indeed. I suspect it's going to be on a Hanzo. We'll see how this one plays out. I suspect we've probably seen this before. We'll get one last shot to look at it. Look at everyone just walking into the line, mate. It's easy. Easy life. Makes me want to play Hanzo. I don't know if you're going to have as much success as Yuki did here, but obviously he's got the info there that he knows where they're going, and they're kind of being chased by the 2 tanks, so it's a really, really good prediction shot actually from Yuki. You can see the thought process and why he shot it there, and it's absolutely paid dividends. Certainly has. He managed to pick up both supports, a tank, and then you see the Diva's about to go down as well. So Not much more you can ask from your Hanzo plays. If you get one of those in ranked play, you can do that. I think it's easy wins all the way.
Well, not likely you're going to get many that are as good as Yuki.
Well, okay. Maybe me. I'm going to work. I'm going to work real hard, and that's going to be me.
It's a bit of a change up from the Diva.
Nah, Diva's pretty good as well, Jordan. But overall, we asked for a good game to start things off. We hoped that yesterday that blank blue match up against Drop Bears was going to be the one. Today, that was a little bit closer. Yep. Better than some of the 4-0s we saw across most of last season.
I mean, last season we saw so many 4-0s. It's kind of a nice little refreshing change to see something a little bit different. A 3-1 is good. A 2-2 would be better. We only got to see one of those last season. So hoping to see a few more of them this season.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, Elfishguy. We are one match through day number 2. We have 3 whole matches today. Next up after the break, it's going to be Avant Gaming up against Pixel Esports. We'll see you soon.